She's very happy now.
I don't understand. She's on a controlled diet. She eats the same amount.
Hello, 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 everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day. This is Danielle and Britt.
Hey.
We're talking about ADHD and emotional regulation. Because, hello, and how to manage our overwhelm and burnout. Because that's a big part of ADHD and emotional regulation is the overwhelm and burnout piece of it.
Massive. Amen.
It's always so weird to emotional dysregulation is like one of the biggest triggers for burnout, overwhelm, frustration, relationship issues, productivity issues, all of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Britt has something that she always asks when somebody's dysregulated. And you have a great way of saying it, and I can never remember what it is. The eating, the drinking, the sleep thing that you always ask.
Oh, yeah. Did you eat? Did you sleep? Are you hydrated? Are you medicated?
Because it is, if you haven't slept well, it's going to cause emotional dysregulation. It's going to cause executive dysfunction issues. End of story. Always, if you don't eat well, if you don't sleep well, if you haven't taken your medication. And I had this happen. I had a client yesterday who was just totally in an emotional spiral. And I stopped him mid-sentence and I said, have you taken your medication today? And he goes, shit.
Yeah.
And then an hour later, he was fine. So what are, other than asking people if they've eaten and all of that stuff, what are some other things that you show your clients or teach your clients to do?
So are you familiar with HALT? HALT?
Yes.
So that covers some of the same things, but HALT is a tool I encourage my clients to use in those moments where they're like, I feel off and I don't know what it is. So if you're unfamiliar with HALT, it's a moment where you halt and ask yourself, am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? And am I tired? I encourage my clients to add an S to the end of it, so HALT, and check in, are my sensory needs being met? Because when you have ADHD and or autism, being over or under stimulated from a sensory standpoint can absolutely affect your emotions. I know that when I am understimulated, I am incredibly irritable and I have a very hard time regulating my anger. And that can not easily be fixed, but it can very simply be fixed by adjusting my sensory input level.
We lost you for a sound.
Oh no.
Right. Oh, yep, there you came back. Okay. So one of the biggest things that I always ask, I'm always going to ask somebody, have you taken your meds? Like if I have a client that I know is on meds, I'm going to ask if they've taken their meds first. Then I'm going to ask if they ate something. Then I'm going to ask if they had anything to drink. And no, coffee does not fill the eating something need. And I just said that, and I'm pretty sure I've only had my coffee this morning.
I'm on my third cup of coffee.
This is my second. So.
But listen, because we've had this conversation, it's going to remind us and bring some accountability to us to make sure that we put some nutrition outside of caffeine in our bodies after this.
Yes, I will be doing that as soon as we are done with this live, because Britt and I will both go, okay, we were both supposed to eat, so we will go do that. We will hold each other accountable at the end. But I'm always asking those things. And sleep, well, it is a question I ask. It's the last question I ask because I can't do anything about the sleep issue right this minute, in this moment when there's an issue. So did you sleep last night? Because that is an explanation, but it's not something I can do to give them a tool or a skill or something to do right now to help something.
Yeah, I will say if a client is extremely emotionally dysregulated and they straight up haven't slept, or got 3 hours or less, to me, that's normally a sign like, hey, like, let's pause for today. Let's come back when you have, a better structure under you. Go get some rest right now and let's reschedule. Because
Yes.
if they got a little bit of sleep, fine. But if we're working with like, I haven't slept in 2 days, like I can't, there's nothing I can do for you more than going and taking some rest can do.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, yes, absolutely. There are times I've had a client who I'm like, today is just not, we're not going to do anything productive for coaching. So we have a list of things that you should do. Going and taking a nap, even if it's only 30 minutes, is a good idea right now. Go do that. Instead of talking to me, go take a 30-minute nap. I think one of the other things that I know one of the other things that I often tell somebody is if their morning is just a dumpster fire,
Yeah.
if their day is a dumpster fire and they can't get on track and they've got a million things that they have to do today, I tell somebody, go back to bed. Get ready for bed. Like it's bedtime. Go through your nighttime routine. Go lay down for 15 minutes. Even if you don't have time to sleep, go lay down for 15 minutes and start your morning routine again. Does that mean taking a shower? Does that mean washing your face, brushing your teeth, having a breakfast? Again, even if you only did that an hour ago, go through your morning routine, your nighttime routine, and then your morning routine. Often, that's a huge reset for our brains to be able to go, oh, I can start over. Clean slate. Let's try again.
Yeah. And I think having those transitional or reslating activities can be really important for us. I know for me, the short version of that is changing my shirt and my earrings.
I will take my makeup off, change my clothes, and I usually will take a shower if I'm really having a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Because water is a very grounding process for me. It may not be a wash my hair shower or anything. It may be just take my makeup off because I'm going to ruin it anyway. Take a shower, get wet, dry off, and restart. And that usually grounds me enough. But if that doesn't work, I just go, okay, what was my bare minimums for today? I can't do today. I just can't do today.
Yeah. And I think that's really important to note. With ADHD or any other diagnosis or disability, we can throw all the tools we have, and some days your brain and body are just not going to be where you want them to be. And the process of learning what those days look like and when to say, this is enough, is so important. And it's a journey and it can be incredibly frustrating, especially when you have a dynamic diagnoses or multiple diagnoses that play off of each other, but it is absolutely worth the work and the time. I know that's something that I work on with my clients quite frequently, is really gauging when do I just need to say, you know what, I don't need to do everything today. A lot of my clients are perfectionists, overachievers. So this is a realm they're not familiar with. Of actually reading their brain and body instead of reading the calendar or the to-do list.
Okay, so I'm going to say that Brit is my ideal when it comes to listening to my body and understanding what I can handle and what I can't handle today. Brit is amazing at this. I am the overachiever. I have a to-do list. That to-do list must be done. It must be done every single day. So I am also that wonderful combination of ADHD. So I have autism and ADHD, and my autism side needs to do the list. There is a list, there is rules. I have to follow them. I have to do them. And I have multiple health issues. Now, I remember a year ago when I was going through like some really horrible health stuff, Britt would ask me, how you doing? Have you listened to your body today? You did that more than once because we'd get on camera and be like, you don't feel good. Why are you here?
Yeah. I can't tell you how much that like means to hear from someone, because I still struggle saying I can't do this today. because part of me really wants to. And some of our culture is like, you got to work for it. You got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And
And
sort of like bucking that system can feel really weird.
it's hard. And we're often called, especially when you're ADHD, you want to compensate for the ADHD. So we feel like we can't do that when something else in life. I mean, we're in that fall transition time for those of us
Which is
with
rough for a lot of us.
For any of us with comorbidities of EDS, or like I have MS and I'm going through menopause and MS at the same time, and that's not fun. And I have fall weather changes. We've had it down into the 30s overnight here. That's not normal here where I am. So my pain levels have been astronomical for the last week or so. And it's hard for us to give ourselves that time because we're compensating for, I didn't get everything done on my list yesterday. So now today I have to work even harder.
Yeah. I'm curious when you are physically feeling well, or when your clients have all of those sort of basics met, right? They've got a solid foundation. What are some of the next tools you look at when it comes to emotional dysregulation?
I'm going to ask sensory questions. Is your shirt bothering you? Is your hair bothering you? Is your makeup bothering you? I had a client who got her nails done for a wedding a couple of weeks ago, and she didn't realize that she couldn't handle having fake nails on. She had acrylics on, and they were, for a whole entire week, she was in sensory overwhelm. And even I, as a coach, that's not something I necessarily, because I have my nails done all the time. I like that. If I don't have my nails done, I'm picking it up like it's a thing for me, so I have to have them done.
Yeah.
And I finally was like, you don't normally have your nails done. Oh. Do your fingernails feel heavy? And she goes, yes, it's really annoying. And I keep going because she kept going like this. She made herself an appointment on her lunch break to get her nails off and instantly felt better.
Love that.
So where's your sensory overwhelm? And I will ask, is your shirt bothering you? Are you too warm? Are you too hot? Do you need to change your temperature or your location? Are the lights too bright? Is it too warm? Is it like, let's go through the normal sensory overwhelm things. Are you having trouble eating today? That can cause sensory overwhelm for a lot of us. Some of us need to eat, not chew today, but we need nutrition.
Right.
And that forcing ourselves to eat something or chew or whatever that is, it is a form of sensory overwhelm.
Absolutely.
Is our water bottle not the water bottle we need to be using today because we don't want to touch the water bottle? Is the paper we're writing on today causing a sensory issue? Is the pen you're using today causing a sensory issue? Do you need earbuds in? Do you need your loops in? Do you need over the ear headphones? What do you need to fill your sensory needs today? And having like a basic checklist of things that can bother you just to glance at also removes decision fatigue of what is bothering me right now.
Exactly. Especially when you're feeling emotionally overwhelmed, it's so much harder to look through your brain and be like, what could it be? Delegate that remembering to a list that you can turn to.
I know that's something I do with a lot of clients is I help them make a dopamine list of things that give them dopamine that take 5 minutes or less. I help them make a sensory overwhelm list. What things, like on a good day, let's talk about the things that last week were driving you crazy. So because you'll remember them and we can make a checklist for it. Yes, what things help decrease your sensory overwhelm? Do you have that one sweatshirt and sweatpants that always make you feel safe? Go put those on today. And often I think that the sensory piece is something that we overlook a lot of times.
I would agree. A lot of us, I mean, and some of that is because it's not something we're taught, right? When I think about being even just like a kid, make sure you eat your breakfast and, take your shower, right? Like when we were talking about those basic like practices for care, that is not something as a society we talk about. So when you are neurodivergent and have higher sensory needs, it's something you have to like often be reminded of because you just don't have that built in.
Well, and I think, like for me, again, because I'm that combo of ADHD and autism, it is more of a forefront. But all of my ADHDers that are just, and I put that in quotation marks. There is no just being ADHD.
I've yet to meet one.
Sensory overwhelm is very much present for every ADHDer, and I think that's also not taught to us. Even when we're diagnosed, we're not taught that there are sensory aspects to that.
Yeah.
I know that that's something that both Vida and I are like really strong on teaching those sensory things because they're such a big deal. And that's like, even in our trip when we're going to Disney World in May and we're taking clients and other coaches and therapists to teach them protocols, one of my big pieces of teaching everybody is a huge sensory aspect because you've got sight, you got sound, you've got touch, you've got taste, and then you also have nerve senses. And everybody looks at me, and even my psychiatrist and my advisors, because I'm getting my PhD, are like, what are you talking about? So those are separate from taste, touch, sound. My nerve endings are a completely different version of sensory input.
Yeah. How would you describe that to someone who's new to thinking about that?
So we all understand taste, touch, sight, sound. Those are very easy. But my hair hurts today. My teeth hurt today. Not because of a taste, a touch, a sound, any of those. They are just on fire. And I honestly, I can't pull apart, is that MS for me? Is that EDS for me? Is that autism? Is that ADHD? I don't know what part of that is, but so many of my ADHD clients say the same thing, especially my female clients. Because I think that's a hormone driven thing for us. But I do have male clients who experience that too. They have hormones too. Let's put that out there. But
everyone has hormones.
Everybody has hormones. And often I get ignored for that, honestly. But our nerve endings are part of our sensory input. And we don't necessarily think about that beyond touch. But I can literally feel some days every piece of hair on my head. Because those nerve endings are on fire. And anybody who has EDS or MS or Parkinson's or exactly understands what I mean when I say that. It's a completely different level of sensory input. And if my hair hurts, there is no putting a headband on. There is no washing my hair. There is no putting a shirt on over my head. Like everything is too much.
Yeah.
I hate shaving my legs. That is a chore for me. I hate doing it, but there are days that my sensory input from not shaving my legs is something I absolutely have to do, and I have to go do it.
Yeah.
Which causes its own sensory overwhelm because it's an executive function issue and it's a sensory issue. So it's too much to do sometimes. But it can also drive me insane. So I have to go do it.
Here there's like a balance in recognizing like what certain activities are going to take from us in a sensory context.
Yeah. And again, understanding that today I can't use a certain notebook because the texture of the paper is too much for me. And whether it's my hand against the paper or the feel of a pen against the paper is literally sending me into sensory overwhelm. A pen, a certain kind of a grip on a pen. Some days I like pens like this. Other days I like pens like this. What? And again, and that's where that sensory checklist comes in. Because I can't remember all of the things that drive me nuts sometimes. I have to look it up. What are things that drive me nuts? So that I can look at what's in front of me and go, oh, this is what's too much today.
Yeah. Yes.
And it affects relationships. If you are ADHD, we have our distractibility we have our distractibility that can affect the relationship of not being focused in on a conversation. We have all of those, or so hyper focused on what our interest is right now that we're driving our partner insane with the thing.
Hey, did you know?
My husband and I both are neurodivergent, so we can drive each other nuts. Right now, my husband is on building a model train. I don't know why. Before that was motorcycles. Whatever. And it
Things
drives
that transport.
Exactly. But my thing is, I'm in college and I just took pharmacology. So that's like in my head. And it's so interesting to me. And my husband's like, I know way more about psychological medications than I ever wanted to know. I'm pretty sure I could get my PhD in it now. And I'm like, yeah, well.
You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. But understanding that, but it doesn't just affect communication and relationship. That sensory overwhelm, that emotional dysregulation, it's going to affect your sex life.
Oh, absolutely.
Your sheets, you got the wrong sheets on the bed for the time of the year. They're too warm, they're too cold, they're too soft, they're too scratchy, they're too staticky, they're too whatever. That's going to affect sex.
Sometimes you're just touched out.
Yeah, I don't want to be touched today. You need to use a different kind of toothpaste because that smell is just too much. My husband changed his mouthwash last month. How dare he?
Yeah.
He found this new really minty, winter fresh. So I don't know. And it was horrible. I'm like, please, no. If you want something, go find something else. Go eat garlic for all I care. Just get rid of that smell. But we need to know to look for those things.
Yes, we do. Because if you don't know to look for them, you can feel so lost.
And I think, I mean, like, I'm in menopause, so I'm having all kinds of issues in this area. And if you want TMI, come talk to me because I can give you every bit of information you probably don't want. But like for a while, I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I was so distracted. I was so not in the moment. I couldn't handle being kissed. I couldn't handle our sheets were not as soft as they used to be. And I couldn't even recognize that was setting me off.
Yeah.
And my dog happened to decide that they were going to be a tug toy and put a hole in it. Puppies sometimes could drive you insane. So I had to go buy new sheets. And as soon as that happened, all of those issues went away. And I was like, seriously?
That's so annoying. I'm like relating intimately.
But this is not something we talk about enough.
No.
Because we talk about the relationships and being distracted and forgetting to do something that your partner asked. And all that. We talk about that part of relationships, but we don't talk about the intimacy pieces of it enough at all. And that is a big for all of us. And I don't care what age, because some of these issues I had at 20. I've been married 30 years now too. And there's still issues. But my husband is also neurodivergent, so he gets distracted and the dog is breathing too loud, the fan is on too high. I mean, all of these things. But do you take a moment to figure those out or just get frustrated with your partner?
Yeah. What are some common emotional regulation issues that your clients bring to you?
Not being able to fully vent to their partners. That is a big thing because part of emotional regulation is being able to share what you're emotionally dysregulated about. And often
especially for our verbal processor.
And that can be, especially if you have a neurotypical partner, they already feel like they're your parent a lot of times. A lot of my clients say that my wife has said, my husband has said, and it's both sides, that they feel like they're parenting me all the time because they have to remind me to take a shower. They have to remind me to feed the kids. They have to remind me that I have to go to work today. You know, all of these things that when you're married to a neurotypical, they really are, they're our executive function, and we rely on them a bit too much for that. And then we vent to them that we were frustrated today, or this was RSD got in the way, or whatever. And our neurotypical partner looks at us and goes, I don't want to hear this. And then they start to not vent anymore, which increases emotional dysregulation.
It'll come out somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't get it out in a healthy way, I like to say it comes out sideways.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So having a safe space to vent, be safe, seen, and heard, as Coach Vida says, you have to have a space that you can be safe, seen, and heard, a community, a tribe, whatever you want to call it, of people who understand, who are going to, like, Britt was like, oh my gosh, I feel this. I feel this at every level. And she giggled a little bit. And I often tell my clients, I might giggle at you a little bit. It's because I'm commiserating, not because I'm laughing at you. Because, man, I got it. I get it. I get it. But having that space is, I will say that's probably one of the biggest pieces of emotional regulation that people need, is a space to be safe, seen, and heard.
I cannot tell you how many times I've had a client say to me, like, I literally just need to use this time today to verbally process what's going on. Okay.
I had a client an hour ago who said, I am not emotionally regulated. I am not in the mood for you to teach me anything or show me anything or work on anything today. I just need to talk about everything and anything. Great.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So we talked about driving to, she was going to go visit somebody this weekend, and we talked about shopping, and we talked about coffee, and she's like, thank you. By holding this space, I feel so much better now. Great. And it's not always about, as a coach, it's not always about solving something for somebody.
Yes.
And sometimes, and I think as somebody who, like, I have my own coach, so sometimes I have to tell my coach, please don't fix this. I just need to talk. I'm not looking for advice here. I'm just looking to vent. And I think that's something that, one of the things that has helped my husband and I a lot, is learning that we needed to preface what we were about to say by, I'm looking for advice. I'm looking for you to solve this. I'm looking for you to do this, or I just want you to listen and keep your mouth shut.
Yep.
Because sometimes we need somebody else's input. We need somebody else's ideas because we just can't process and think of them. Other times we just need to vent and get it out and not hear anything. Advice, don't give me that look. Don't roll your eyes. Don't giggle. Don't laugh. Don't nothing. Just sit there and listen.
Or just validate the shit out of me.
Wow, that sucks. Having somebody say that to me after I've vented about something is validating. And sometimes we just need that. That's a huge piece of mental health, relationships, productivity, emotional regulation, balance, everything is just having a place to be safe, seen, and heard. And I will tell you that my coach, at this point in life, my therapist was amazing for years and I really needed them. But right now, my coach is a much better version of that, because I can say, I've never had a therapist stay quiet.
Fascinating.
Even if I've said, please, I don't want any advice or anything. And I think it's because they want to fix everything. I do think that that's part of that. I have very few therapists I've ever met that also aren't neurodivergent, though. I think it's part of it. But
honestly, that makes more sense.
But sometimes I just need to be heard. I need to verbally process. I don't need your advice. I don't need your input. I need you to shake your head and go, Wow. Really? That's it? And I know that Brett and Vida and I do that for each other often, that we'll just vent for because we need somebody to vent to.
Yes.
And we'll say, oh my gosh, that just made me laugh out loud because I feel you, girl. And we just need that. So what is one of the things that is working right now, like this week for you, for helping you maintain your own emotional regulation balance?
Ooh. Getting out of the house. I know for me, like I can get wrapped up in my own head very easily. So, excuse me, having a change of like location, like a change of scenery helps to like jolt me out of my own head and my own thoughts. And like sometimes I'm just like, yeah, there's a whole world.
Oh yeah. There's something beyond my office.
It's not just all the random thoughts in my brain. Like the world is out here. It is spinning and it feels good to connect with it often.
My thing right now, I'm fairly trapped right now because pain, exhaustion. And my thing right now has been cooking. If I can go cook something and just get my hands in making some sourdough bread or cookies or something, cook something.
Yeah.
It's helping me process right now. Sometimes it's the act of a repetitive movement that can really help me process of what's going on in my head.
Yeah. There's something meditative about cooking sometimes, for sure.
Yeah. And it's not that like I'm making a 12-course meal or anything like that. I made mac and cheese the other day, but that was just I don't have to think about making that. That's just very cathartic for me.
Right.
And I didn't even want to eat it after I made it. I just wanted to make the food.
Just wanted to make it.
It was really annoying though, because it's usually one of my comfort foods, but then it just turned me off. But knowing that sometimes we just have to change what we're doing. I wore my pajamas all week last week because that was way more comfortable than putting real clothes on. What I needed for emotional regulation is to wear pajamas all week.
Okay. And that's okay.
I think that we often have societal expectations of how we're supposed to operate that we try to force ourselves into, and that causes emotional overwhelm.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, like, what rules are really serving me? And what rules would it actually not end the world if I broke? It would actually make things easier for me.
I think one of the questions I ask a lot is, why are you doing it that way? And whose voice do you hear in your head that says you have to do it that way? Because it's always somebody else's voice.
Yeah, my way of asking that is, who's driving the bus right now?
Absolutely. Sometimes we just have to ask ourselves those questions because we get stuck in somebody else's idea, and it's a masking piece for us. We end up masking that I'm in a lot of pain today. I can't do anything. Clothes hurt or whatever, but I have to get dressed. I have to put my shoes on. I have to put makeup on. I have to wear the headband. I have to. Why?
Says who?
Says who? And I hear my grandmother's voice, you're not ready unless you're 100% ready, in my head. And that's a very 50s housewife way of thinking, unless you have all of the makeup on, all of that. Yeah. And I will tell you, some days that's how I am productive. I get ready, get completely ready. Other days, I can't do that. And that's okay.
Yeah. And knowing, taking the time to assess and practicing.
And again, that's why I have checklists, because I don't have to assess. I have to go, yeah, this isn't going to work for me today. It's understanding that I have good, better, and best days. I don't have very many best days. I'm mostly in the good to okay days. And that's okay.
And that's okay, because most people don't live their best life every single day. Like that's not superhuman.
And some days my ADHD is winning and it is a superpower and I can do 20,000 tasks and make dinner and clean my house and get the laundry done, like put it in the washer and the dryer and fold it all in one day.
Yes.
Other days I have to start the washer 20 times.
And a huge part of my regulation, and so I don't start getting down on myself, is recognizing that on those best days, great, love them. I will probably need a day or two to recharge after that.
For now.
And it's very rare that I'll have multiple best days in a row. And that's okay. And that's standard for most people.
It is. If I have a best day, I know I have a week of crap days.
Yep.
And I had to learn to accept that. And that's okay. It really is okay.
It is okay. I like to say ADHDers are sprinters, not marathoners. You know what sprinters do after they sprint? They rest. And that's okay. You're going to need to rest after a sprint. Normal.
And it's fine. It
also,
really is fine.
ADHDers, at least all my clients, they're like, I had a great day and I did all these things, but now I can't do anything. And then like I'll start getting curious about like what they did. Come to find they did like a week's worth of everything.
Yeah, in one day.
And I'm like, yeah, you did it all. Like
it's okay that you
feel
did
like
everything.
there's nothing to do because you did it all.
And now you could take a rest for a week because you did it all. You're all good. And understanding that I don't have to be at peak productivity level every single day. That whole slay your day, all of that stuff is, especially as a woman, we see that don't get me started on that. But we don't have to always be at top peak performance. We just don't.
No, we do not. That's where there's a woman online. I'm not going to remember her name because I'm bad with that. But she's like, what would Chad do? Chad is not worried about slaying Chad's day. You know what I mean?
No, Chad is not.
Chad's like, I'm fantastic. I'll do what I do.
And I do it when I want to, how I want to, and if I want to. And I think that that's a really good lesson for us to really pay attention to and understand that we can just relax. It's okay.
Yes.
So what tip is like your thing that is keeping you on track this week?
A great question. The tip that is keeping me on track this week.
Software, pen, paper, notebook, journal. What's working for you?
Mine's just a reminder that like if you're not up for doing the whole thing, just do the smallest part you can do.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm at.
For me right now, I'm getting ready to go to Chad next month. So I'm doing a lot of prep for that. And I'm trying to do a little bit every day so that it's not overwhelming. And I even got myself out a brand new bullet journal to start doing it step by step and little bits at a time and tracking it and like creating a list of everything that I'm doing and how I'm doing it so that my next conference, I can make it easier on myself.
Nice. She is getting organized.
I love writing things down. So pen and paper are always going to be my thing.
Yeah. I'm an all pen and paper girly.
Yep. I hope you're all having an amazing week. If you have questions, if you need support, if you need Brits, halts, I can't say the plural of that. If you need advice, if you need support, if you need help, reach out to either of us. You have our links below. We are here to support you. We both have space for clients in so many ways that
Truly.
we can help. And videos we can send you to, and free resources and all kinds of stuff. Let us know how you don't have to operate alone. And I think that's one of the bigger lessons that we have to learn as ADHDers is we need help. And if we're going to be successful, we need a community and we need help. So we're here for you.
Amen. Amen. And if we are not the people, we will help you find the people.
Yes. Because if I'm not the right peoples, I know the peoples who are. You have an amazing day, and let us know how we can help. Have a good one.